Welcome to Mat Pilates. I'm Rachel Peters. For any of you who don't know me, physical therapist at Agile headquarters. We are going to be using a foam roller or a rolled up towel, bath towel that's going to be lined up vertically. We'll go through that in a few minutes. We're going to start class in standing, and I will give you guys my contact information at the end of class. If anyone who hasn't joined me before, welcome, by the way. If any of you guys have any questions or feedback for me. So let's go ahead and get to our mats. We'll get started. Let's get our mat lined up horizontally so you can see me in your screen. We're going to keep that roller or that towel off to our side for starters, and we're going to start with those feet shoulder width apart. We'll soften up the knees a little bit. Let's roll our shoulders back a couple of times. Give them one more roll back. Let's take a big breath in, arms up overhead. We'll clasp our palms, reach them up to the ceiling, and then drop our shoulder blades down toward the floor. Let's take a big side bend to one side, reaching up where the wall and the ceiling meet. We'll inhale up to the ceiling and then exhale over to the other corner. Let's go ahead and do a few more to either side. We want to picture the trunk lifting up off of the pelvis. We're controlling this motion by keeping those arms lined up with the ears and by pulling that belly in nice and gently just to keep that upper body supported as we move side to side. Let's take the hands to the ceiling. We'll bring them down by the sides, and then we're going to line our feet up with our hips. Hold them here. We're going to shift the weight till it's centered right over our ankle joints, and we'll lift our toes up. When you lift your toes, you'll feel those arches lift a little bit, help stabilize you onto the floor. We're going to spread your toes apart from each other. Let's drop the pinky toes down first, then we'll go fourth, third, second, and finally that big toe will come down. Let's go ahead and shift the weight all the way forward toward the toes. Feel those toes wake up. They have to work a little bit to keep you nice and still. We're going to rise up on the toes. Let those calves do a little bit of work, and we'll lower back down. Let's do that a few more times, just keeping that weight over the balls of the feet. If you'd like to hold on to something for a little bit of balance assist, you're welcome to. We're going to do a couple more here. Just get those calves, those ankles, those little tiny muscles in the feet warmed up. They will help us later. And we'll drop those toes down, heels down toward the floor. Shake out your legs. All right, let's go ahead and grab our rollers or our towels, and we're gonna lay those down along the length of your mat. Once you have that towel or that roller there, we're gonna make our way down to the mat. And if you're on your roller, you're gonna sit your bottom down right at the bottom of it. Your tailbone's right on the edge of it. Anything else, any farther down, you'd be coming off the roller. We're going to take our hands down to the mat. We'll gently bring ourselves onto our backs. Okay? Whether you're on a roller or on a rolled up towel or just on your mat, we're going to try to line things up so the top of your head's really right at the edge of it and your tailbone's toward the other end. We're going to bend those knees up and point our toes directly forward. We'll let those hands hang down by the sides. Let's take a few deep breaths here. Inhale and exhale. Find a breathing pattern that's working nicely for you, a tempo that's good. And as you exhale, you want to try to picture your body sinking down into the supporting surface. So the floor, the towel, if you're on that roller, those shoulder blades are gently going to roll down off the sides and press toward the mat. We're going to hover our hands up off the floor just a few inches till they're lined up with our trunk. We're going to flip the palms up toward the ceiling and then roll them down to the floor. We're thinking of those shoulder joints spinning in their socket a little bit. We're going to warm them up. Palms up, palms down. Let's do a couple more times here. We're just bringing some circulation to those joints. We're going to keep those palms facing down to the floor, and we'll drop the hands to the floor as well. Take a big breath in. On that exhale, we're going to tighten a seatbelt of muscles between your belly button and that pubic bone. Those muscles are gently going to draw back towards your spine without your pelvis moving. It's staying nice and still. So if you had a curve in your back when we started, you're going to have that same curve. We're just supporting it with those abdominal muscles. And we're going to gently nod the chin down toward the neck, feeling the back of the neck lengthen down into your supporting surface. We're going to let that chin relax. Nod and relax. So we're moving around a base that's right below your ears. Nod and relax. Nod. We're going to hold a little bit that nod. Keep that belly drawn gently down toward the spine, and the arms are going to come up to the ceiling. And from here, we're going to drop our shoulder blades down toward the mat. Roll them up toward the ceiling. Fingertips come up, shoulder blades draw down. You might get a little bit of crunching as those shoulder blades come up and down, especially if you're on that roller or even on that towel. Just go with it. Give them a little massage. Let them know that they're getting warmed up. Lift them up toward the ceiling. Anchor them down toward the floor. Those blades will stay down. That belly stays down. The head stays nice and still. And now we're going to take our arms back and forth. We'll reach them back overhead toward the wall behind you, up to the ceiling, and then down to the floor in front of you. What you'll notice, especially if you're on that roller, is there's a little bit of a tendency to wiggle side to side. That's okay. We're going to use our feet and those core muscles. They help the supporting surface stay nice and still for us. Back and forth. We're going to take the arms back as far as you can. Hold them there. If they touch the floor, if your thumbs touch the floor, hover them up a little bit. And from here, we're going to push the floor away with our feet. We're going to rock side to side. If you're on that roller, you're going to feel your hamstrings working a little bit to help you control that side to side motion. Let's rock ourselves side to side. Find that boundary. How far to each side can you rock if you're on that towel? How far to each side can you rock if you're on that roller? If you're on the floor, what do you feel as you press a little bit more firmly into one foot versus the other? You'll feel some muscles work a little bit differently, one side versus the other. We're going to take ourselves back to the middle, bring those arms up to the ceiling, and we'll exhale them down to the mat, pressing those palms into the floor. We're going to reset the chin down toward the neck, the shoulder blades down toward the floor, and that belly down toward the spine. Hold it there. We're going to keep those hands pressed into the mat. Lift to one knee. We're going to bring it up to 90 degrees tabletop, as if you were going to balance something on your floating shin. We'll float that foot back down, and we'll lift the other leg up and down. If you want to challenge this, especially if you're on that roller or that towel, hover your hands up off the floor. We're keeping the belly drawn in, and you almost want to picture that you're using those lower abdominals to bring that opposite knee up off the floor. Lift it up and down. Another option here, if you're on your roller, is just to lift a heel up and down, keeping those toes on the floor. Our goal here really is to keep your supporting surface, your body and your supporting surface as still as you can as you move those legs. We're going to do one more on each side, whether it's a march or a heel lift. We'll bring those feet back down to the mat, take the hands down to the floor. Let's take a big breath in. On that exhale, we'll draw that belly down again. Press your heels into the floor, and we're going to lift that bottom up off your supporting surface into a bridge. If you're on the floor, it'll feel like a full bridge. On that roller or on the towel, you can be lifting up slightly less high than you would if you were on the floor, because we're starting at a little higher surface. We're going to bring ourselves back down, press those heels into the mat, lift that bottom up. Keep that pattern going. You only want to lift as high up as those glutes can take you. Maybe we bump up into a length issue with the front of the thighs. If you start feeling it in your back, don't lift up quite as high. It's perfectly fine even just to squeeze that bottom, even if it barely lifts up off the mat. We're going to do two more here. We're just waking up those glutes. Lower down. One more time. Let's press into the floor, lift that bottom up. We'll exhale, lowering everything down. And then we're going to let everything relax. Take those arms back up to the ceiling. Big breath in. And on that exhale, we're going to bring our arms out to the side and back up to the ceiling. Exhale them out to the side. As you come out, try to make sure that chin and that belly stay nice and still so your trunk stays nice and still. Maybe those fingertips touch as we get a stretch on the front of the chest. We'll bring those arms back to the ceiling. Now we're going to do one at a time. That arm closest to your screen comes out to the side. We sweep it back up to the ceiling, and we switch. And take it back up. One more time to each side. You'll feel that core muscle working on the opposite side of the arm that you're moving. Take it back up. Last time, opposite arm comes out. We'll take it back to the ceiling. Let's take those arms back down to the floor. We're going to roll off of your supporting surface, whether it's the roller or the towel. We'll push that thing out of the way, leave it alone. We may revisit it later, and we'll come right back down to the floor. Let's go ahead and take another big breath in. As we exhale, we think about dropping that chin gently down toward the neck, drawing those collarbones wide and away from the center of the body, and that belly drops down toward the spine. Hold it there. Big breath in. On that exhale, we're going to bring one knee up to 90 degrees and take it back down. That other knee comes up, and we take it back down. Let's do a few more this way. Lifting and lowering. lifting and lowering. Next step, we take one knee up to 90 degrees. Keeping that belly drawn down, we bring the other one up to meet it. If this doesn't feel great on your back, feel free to keep a kickstand down on the floor. One foot stays down. We're gonna press our hands into our thighs, whichever thighs are up, whether it's one or both. Build your pressure gently until you feel the muscles working from that lower part of your rib cage all the way down to your pubic bone. And then from here, we're gonna drop those shoulders down towards your hips. We'll nod the chin. Hold it there, keep the breath going. Inhale and exhale. None of this is worth anything if you're holding your breath through the whole thing. Maybe we nod and lift the head. Keeping that nod, we'll bring the head back down, release the neck. Nod and lift, lower and release. You're welcome to just stick with a nod, keeping the head on the floor, or to move through the full 4-part little neck crunch here. Belly stays down, nod and lift. Last one, lower and release. We're gonna bend and straighten those knees. We'll bring the feet toward the ceiling and then lower them back down to our tabletop position. Again, if we're keeping one foot down on the floor as a kickstand, the other leg moves by itself. We're gonna do 4 more. If we're doing one at a time, try to do 2 on each. If we're doing one leg at a time, try to do 2 motions through each. Last time, straighten. We'll bend back to that 90 degrees, hold it there. We're gonna take our hands down by the sides, keeping them hovered up off the mat just a little. Maybe we nod and lift the head, holding it there. Maybe the head stays down. We're gonna pat our hands up and down like we're bouncing little tiny basketballs. We're gonna inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep that pattern going, breathing in and breathing out. Maybe we speed up our hands. Maybe we slow it down a little bit. It's completely up to you. Maybe there's one foot on the floor still. We could take our feet up to the ceiling, keep it going. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep that going. Feel free to challenge yourself a bit by taking those legs in front, reaching toward the wall in front of you. And then we're gonna flip the palms over and press into the ceiling. Remember, we could have a kickstand here. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep that pattern going. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold it wherever you are. We're gonna lower the upper body down, pull those knees back to tabletop, and then give them a hug into the chest as we rock the body side to side. We'll take it right back to the middle, roll those shoulders back and down, drop them all the way down to the mat. And with that belly drawn down toward the spine and away from your thighs, we're gonna keep your leg closest to your screen pulled into your chest. And we're gonna slide that opposite leg out to the wall in front of you. We're gonna keep it hovered about a foot or 2 off the floor, maybe a foot. And with those shoulder blades down, we nod the chin toward the neck. Maybe we curl the head up. It's up to you whether you lift your head or not. And from here, we're gonna take that straight leg, lower it down, just so it's about 1/2 inch up off the floor. Hold it there. We're thinking about stretching your bent knee as close to your shoulder as you can get it, and that straight leg as far away from that bent knee as you can get it. Hold it there. We're gonna take that straight leg, we're gonna stretch it side to side. Try to find a range where you can keep your trunk nice and still, and keep that leg moving. Good, keep it going. Let's make some circles with that moving leg. We're gonna draw some circles on the wall in front of us. Again, we keep that bent knee drawn gently into the chest. Go ahead and circle the other way. That trunk stays as still as you can keep it. We're gonna stretch that leg forward, take a big breath in. On the exhale, we'll bring the upper body down if it's been up. We're gonna pull that other knee into the chest, big breath in. Exhale, reset that belly, and we'll extend that opposite leg out straight. A foot, 1.5 up off the floor. Pull that bent knee into the body a little more. Maybe we raise the upper body. And we'll take that straight leg side to side. If you want to have your hand on your hip to monitor, making sure that that pelvis and trunk stay nice and still, go for it. I find it helpful sometimes. We'll stretch that leg forward again, and now we'll move it in circles. Keep it going. You can picture those lower abs helping you out with that circle, with that stability. Keep it going. 2 more circles here. Last one. We're going to draw that leg all the way down to the mat. We'll bring the upper body down if it's been up. And let's get that bent knee a little stretch across the body. We're going to bring it across towards your opposite hip. Pulling into that glute on the side that we're moving away from. We're going to oscillate just a little bit. Just wake up that muscle. Big breath in. We'll take it right back to the middle. Let's hold behind that thigh with those shoulders and upper arms down. Let's extend that leg up toward the ceiling. Maybe we flex and point a bit. You decide. You want to feel this stretch behind your thigh. You want to try to keep those lower leg muscles relatively quiet. If you feel any numbness or tingling, pins and needles, just bend your knee a little. We're going to point those toes toward the ceiling with that belly drawn down. We're going to take our arms up to the ceiling as well. Hold it there. From here, we're going to take that arm closest to your screen, bring it out to the side and back up. The opposite arm comes out to the side and back up. We're going to keep that pattern going a bit. Side to side. If you want to challenge it further, hover that other leg up just a little bit off the floor. Let's keep those arms moving. We'll bring the arms to the ceiling, and now we're going to arc those arms back and forth, just like we did on our roller and our towel during our warm-up. We're trying to keep those ribs nice and anchored, but that mid-back anchored down toward the mat, that chin strong toward the neck. So nothing's moving but your shoulders, and we're moving them in the range that feels not straining. You don't want to feel too much pull on the top of those shoulders as we move. We're going to bring those arms up to the ceiling, and now with everything staying nice and still, maybe that bottom leg's covered, maybe it's on the floor, maybe it's bent. We're going to take that top leg that we're stretching here and move it side to side. You want to try to keep the pointers of your hips facing the ceiling here. Maybe that knee is bent. Let's go ahead and make some circles with that leg. Draw those circles on the ceiling. We're still thinking about drawing those bellies down. So if you're having a hard time keeping those muscles from poking up toward the ceiling, give yourself a little more support. Bend that supporting leg. We'll circle a couple times the other way. Maybe those arms come back overhead for a bigger challenge. We'll take that leg to the ceiling. Let's hold on behind that thigh. Pull that knee back into the chest, and we'll switch them out. That other knee comes in. We'll stretch that leg straight, draw it to the floor. Now we'll take that bent knee and give it a little pull toward the opposite side. Again, we're pulling into those deep hip rotators here, getting into that glute a little bit. We're just giving it a little bit of an oscillation to the other side. Good, let's take it back to the middle. We'll hold on behind that thigh, extend that leg, giving that hamstring a stretch. We can wiggle that foot a little bit. Again, keep in mind that we want that thigh to be feeling the brunt of this. If you feel your lower leg, go ahead and bend that knee a bit. We're going to hold that leg up right where it is. Maybe we lift that other leg up off the floor, hold it there. And let's think about taking those arms to the ceiling. And we'll open up one to the side, take it back up, and switch it. That shoulder is drawn down toward the floor. The blades are dropping down to support you. That belly is drawn down. Lots of things to think about here. If it gets confusing, just close your eyes, listen to what I'm saying, pick out one thing that makes sense to you and focus on that. Remember, maybe that knee is bent, maybe that supporting leg is bent as well. We'll take those arms to the ceiling again, and now we're going to arc them back overhead and forward toward the floor. The nice thing about these movements being slow and controlled is that you have time to really think about them. Decide if you need to modify your position. Maybe you need a little rest. Maybe that kickstand leg needs to come down. We're going to take those arms up to the ceiling, and now we'll move that stretching leg side to side. Feel free to reevaluate the level of support you need to give yourself. Let's make some circles. Again, maybe those arms come back overhead for a greater challenge. Maybe they come down to the floor. Give you a little intermediate support. We'll go ahead and circle that leg a couple times the other direction. Maybe one more for good measure. Let's take it back up to the ceiling. We're going to hold on behind that thigh. We'll lower that supporting leg to the floor if it's been hovered up. And we're going to keep a hold of that thigh. Roll those shoulders back a bit. Good. Let's drop that belly down. Maybe we nod the chin, lift the head. We're going to move to a single straight leg stretch. That leg toward the bottom comes up to meet the other one, and we lower the other leg down to the mat. We're using our hands to support ourselves a bit at the thigh. We're going to move back and forth. Those knees could be bent as we move. We also could keep one foot on the floor the whole time. Lots of options here. We're going to do a few more at whatever level you've chosen. If you do want more of a stretch, feel free to drop your hands to a little bit closer to your ankles versus the back of the knees. We'll do one more on each side. We're going to bend both knees, pull them into the chest, roll that upper body down, and we'll rock everything side to side. Let's take ourselves right back to the middle. Keeping those knees pulled into the chest, let's draw that belly down away from your thighs, toward your spine, and keep those shoulders anchored on the mat. All right, hands are going to come by the sides. We're going to look in your screen, see if you can see yourself. Maybe we want to try to get those shins parallel to the ceiling. And we're going to slowly bring ourselves up toward that 90-degree position. 90 degrees at the hips, 90 degrees at the knees. Hold them there. Let's go ahead and flex our feet. Arms come to the ceiling as well. We're going to keep those shoulders anchored to the floor. And we're going to rock the knees a little bit side to side. With those arms up, they're acting almost like goalposts. We're going to rock the knees toward one forearm, toward the other. Use them to be the judge for how far you go side to side. If we want to change this up a little, we could straighten the knees, bringing the feet toward the ceiling. Again, doing the same thing. We're rocking the lower half of the body side to side. If you do need more support, those arms do come down by your sides. We can point the toes. Maybe we make some little circles, moving both legs together. Maybe we circle the other way. Feel free to slow down a little bit if you need a little more time to process that direction and the changes. We'll bring those legs back to the middle. We're going to circle them in opposite directions of each other. If those knees are bent, it's almost going to feel like a little mini breaststroke kick. Let's circle them the other way. Maybe we make that a little bigger. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's go ahead and hold them there. Flex those feet. We're going to turn the toes out away from each other so your feet are making a little V. Your knees are bent, those knees will be apart from each other. Either way is fine. We're going to wiggle through that bent knee straightened position. Belly draws down. We're going to wiggle them a little bit. We're going to take those heels as if we were going to bring them down toward where our hips meet, where those inner thighs meet. And then we're going to straighten them as best we can, aiming to reach those knees toward each other. Find a range that's working for you. If your feet are lower, it's okay. Those toes are still pointing out to the side. Maybe we don't make it go quite as far. If you want to challenge it more, we can exhale, press toward the wall in front of you. Inhale back, bringing those knees towards your shoulders and the heels toward your inner thighs. We'll press, pull in. It's almost like a plie, little frog jump. One more press, pull them back to the center. Let's pull those knees in, rock everything side to side, give them a break. All right, coming right back to the middle, that belly draws down. Knees come back to tabletop and those arms come back to the ceiling. We're going to take one arm back overhead, opposite leg stretches in front, and let's go ahead and move through those diagonals at your own speed. We could challenge it further by taking the head up. We could take a step back by bending the knees and shortening that leverage on your trunk. Okay. We can even take a step back further by leaving one foot on the floor. Totally up to you. We could take it one step further by straightening those legs. We'll do one more diagonal on each side. We're going to pull those toes or those knees back to the ceiling. Arms come up, legs come back to tabletop, and we drop those blades down. Now we could stick with the variation on marches that we've been doing, where we can flex and try to push it up a little bit more. We're going to bring both heels down together. Exhale down, inhale back to tabletop. Again, we could do one at a time. We could keep one heel on the floor and march up and down. We'll take those feet down, lift them up. Maybe we add an overhead arm lift as we go. Both arms back, both feet forward. We have 4 more here at whatever level you've chosen. Maybe we take that final progression, straightening those knees. Exhale, arms back, legs forward. Inhale up to the top. Here's 3. Inhale up. Here's 2. Inhale up. Last one, stretch them away from the center of the body. Inhale up. Let's pull those knees in. Hug them nice and tight to your chest. Rock everything side to side. Give yourself a little breather here. Okay, everyone's working really hard. Hopefully we had enough modifications and progression so everyone feels challenged to the best of their ability. We're gonna go ahead and take our feet down to the floor. Feet and knees will be hip width apart, so there's a few inches between each, and those arms are gonna stay by our sides. We're gonna move through some bridging progressions here. For those of you who've taken the class for a while, I do have a couple of slightly varied ones that we can play with today. We'll take a big breath in. On that exhale, that belly draws down. We're gonna press those heels into the floor, rise up into bridge, high as you can, controlling it with those glutes. If you feel it in your back, take it down a notch until you feel only those butt muscles working. Maybe a stretch through the front of the thighs. We'll lower ourselves down. Let's do a few more here. We're gonna bridge up and down in a controlled manner. Try to get to the point, if you feel like you have good control and can lift up high enough, try to get to the point where you feel that stretch through the front of your thighs. Anywhere from the front of the hips down toward those kneecaps is pretty much fair game as far as getting to those muscles that go over both the knee and the hip. We can continue with straight bridge. If you want to challenge yourself a little differently, we hold the bridge at the top, and we're going to go up and down on our toes a few times. Feel free to stick with the straight bridge if this isn't working for you. Heels lift and lower. We're trying to keep those glutes lifted as best we can throughout that motion. We can stick with this. We could stick with straight bridges, or we could move on and move to rotation. One cheek comes down and lifts back up. The other cheek comes down and lifts back up. You want to imagine that you're squeezing something between your knees so the knees don't go along with for a ride with this. Good. So we're straight bridging, we're lifting the heels, or we're doing some rotations. We have two more of whichever you've chosen. Now we'll lift back up to the top. We're going to take an inhale. On that exhale, we're going to lengthen back down to the mat. Let's move through a little pelvic clock. We'll picture 12 o'clock up by the breastbone, 6 by the pubic bone. We're going to rock from 12 o'clock, flattening the back, to 6 o'clock, giving ourselves a little bit of an arch. Let's take it back to neutral. Now we'll take ourselves from side to side, 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock, keeping those knees nice and still. Tilt one direction, one hip down, one hip up, and reverse it. Let's go ahead and switch through at your own speed. Let's take ourselves right back to the middle. We'll reset with a big breath in. Exhale, draw that belly down. We're going to lift back up into our bridge. We always have the option of sticking with a straight bridge. Otherwise, we're going to hold our bridge at the top. We're going to keep that leg farthest from your screen right where it is. We're going to let that near knee come out to the side, keeping that pelvis as still as you can. Your hip pointers are still coming directly up to the ceiling. We'll bring that knee back up to the top, and then that opposite knee comes out to the side and back up. Let's go ahead and alternate. One knee out and in. Your foot stays on the floor on that opposite side. So we're trying to keep that whole foot on the floor. We're trying not to roll to the outside of that foot as we go. Let's do one more here to each side. Again, you are welcome to stick with that straight bridge if this is too much or just confusing. Big breath in, exhale, bridge it down. We'll take a big breath in at the bottom. We'll exhale, bridging up. Moving on, you're welcome to try the rotation that we tried a few steps ago. We're going to move to a march. One knee up and down, other knee up and down. Keep those going with the goal of keeping that pelvis as still as you can if we're marching. We could progress to a knee extension, taking that foot toward the ceiling. That supporting foot is still pressing firmly into the floor. We're going to do one more on each side, whatever progression you've chosen. That foot presses into the floor. We take a big breath in, and we exhale back down. Now we're going to bring our feet and knees together. Just rock those knees side to side. You could let your pelvis come up off the floor a little bit, just giving ourselves a little break. We'll rock a couple more times to each side. Take ourselves back to the middle. Press those feet into the floor, big breath in, belly to spine on the exhale. We're going to cross that far ankle to your near knee. Ankle's going to come over to the knee closest to your screen. We're going to hold here. We're going to press our shoulder blades down. Dig your heel of that supporting foot into the floor as firmly as you can. Dig your foot that's on top of your knee into your knee a bit. not to the point of causing tenderness or anything, but dig it until you have a little bit of support. We're gonna press those heels down. Maybe we can unweight that cheek. Maybe we lift up into single leg bridges. Remember, you can go back to standard bridges at any point. We're gonna go here, we're pressing through that supporting heel. It's important to keep the pressure through the heel so you don't get a hamstring cramp. Okay, if you wanna move on and progress, we can bring that foot off of your other knee into tabletop. We could even extend it up to the ceiling for a little more challenge. We could stretch it forward in line with your other thigh for an even bigger challenge. We have 2 more wherever you are. Bring it down. Let's go ahead and switch our legs. We'll take that other foot down. That leg closest to your screen crosses over, heel presses into that opposite knee. We drop our shoulder blades down, press both heels down, unweighting that cheek on the supporting side, and we press into our single leg bridge if that's what you've chosen to do. Press it up and down. We're gonna keep this going. Maybe we move up to that tabletop position with your free leg. Play around with height. If you start to cramp in your hamstring, maybe we back off on that height a little bit. Take it through a range you can control. Let's go ahead and maybe progress by extending that opposite leg, bringing your toes to the ceiling. We're gonna do 2 more here. Last one, press. Bring that bottom down. We're gonna cross that free leg over the other one. Pull them into your chest. Give a little figure 4 stretch. Maybe we rock side to side. You're always welcome to keep that supporting foot on the floor and just press that knee out to the side if that feels better. We're gonna switch our legs, cross them over, either press them out, pull that knee in, give them a little rock. Taking them right back to the middle. We'll go ahead and unwind, pull those knees into the chest. And as we bring our feet to the floor, we'll take our arms to the ceiling. Let's go ahead and play around with our position here. Maybe we take those legs straight, see how your back feels. If you're not super comfortable in that extended position, feel free to bend the knees a bit. We're gonna take the arms to the ceiling, and just like we did on our roller or our towel at the beginning of class, we're gonna drop our blades to the floor and then raise them up to the ceiling. Lower and lift. Keeping it going. Lower and lift. Lower and lift. Keep that pattern going. If you want to challenge these shoulder blade muscles in a slightly different way, this isn't particularly an exercise that's going to make you sweat or anything. Makes you think a little bit. We're trying to coordinate that shoulder blade movement as those arms go. Keeping those shoulder blades moving, we're going to take the arms back overhead. As those blades continue to move toward the ceiling and toward the floor, just pay attention to what you feel. You're gonna feel some movement change a little bit. Hands are gonna stay back behind your body. Try to keep those hands nice and still as your shoulder blades move. You're gonna feel a stretch here. You're gonna feel some work being done right under those armpits as that blade wraps up and down. We're gonna do 2 more here. Lift those blades up, lower them down, lift them up, lower them down 1 more time. We're gonna hold that there. Now we're gonna draw the chin gently toward the neck, letting the back of the neck rest down toward the floor, lengthening out a little bit. We're gonna take another exhale. Drop that breastbone toward the floor. Let it kind of allow your middle back to melt down into your surface. Those lowest ribs are gonna drop down and slightly toward each other, which will activate the muscles in the top of your abdominal area. You'll feel those working. That belly's gonna draw gently down toward the spine. If you need to pop your hands up a little closer to the ceiling here, that's okay. Hold that position. We're gonna progress, if you're ready, by lifting a foot up and down and then switching through. The goal here is to keep that pelvis nice and still if those legs are moving. If your knees are bent, we're basically going back to a march. Let's keep those legs moving as we walk those hands up toward the ceiling. Good. We'll walk them out 1 more time on each. Feet come to the floor. Let's take a big breath in. Maybe we take those arms back overhead, stretch into the wall behind you. Picture those feet lengthening toward the wall in front of you. Take 2 more big breaths. 1 more time. Big breath in. On that exhale, we're going to go ahead and make our way over to our stomachs. If you are not historically comfortable on your stomach, no worries. You're welcome to find a sofa cushion, a pillow, something to give you a little bit of a ability to keep that back a little straighter versus letting it arch back, you're welcome to go grab that now, place it under your abdomen. We're gonna lie down with our hands underneath our forehead. If you are not comfortable in this position, a lot of the exercises that we're doing here, we can activate the same muscles up on hands and knees. So it's your choice. We're gonna find our position, resting the forehead on the hands. All right, take a big breath in. Whether you're on hands and knees or on your belly, we're gonna draw that belly up towards your spine. And your goal here is to keep your back in the same position, whether the belly's drawn up or drawn down. So we're trying to keep it nice and still. You wanna feel your stomach muscles pulling in, okay? If you're on your belly and your skin still touches the floor, it's absolutely fine. So we're right here, we're holding this and breathing. Whether we're on hands and knees or flat out on our stomachs. If you're on your belly, you're gonna squeeze your bottom. We're gonna move into some flutter kicks. Keep it going. I'm gonna move to demonstrate. If you're on hands and knees, we're gonna slide a leg out and back in and switch it up through there. Again, trying to keep that belly pulled in. If you're on your belly, we're doing our flutter kicks still. Keep those leg slides going if you're on hands and knees, and we're gonna lift the forehead up off of your hands. If you're on the floor, we're keeping that flutter kick going. If we can maintain that navel to spine, maybe the arms come down by the sides and we flip those palms toward the floor. If you're on hands and knees, practice bringing your slide back in toward that hands and knee position. Go ahead and stop your legs moving. And you're gonna rock your bottom back towards your heels and then come back onto all fours. If we're in our flutter kicks here, we're gonna go ahead and squeeze the blades together and hold them. We're gonna click our heels together. We're gonna be here for 4, 3, 2, 1. Everything comes down. Everybody comes back to hands and knees. All right. So if you do need a little more padding, go ahead and put your towel roll underneath your knees. Give yourself a little more cushion. Everybody's gonna move through some cats and cows. We're gonna do a little bit of curling, a little bit of arching through a range that works for you. Good, we'll take it back to neutral again. We'll wag our tail side to side, hip to shoulder, opposite hip to other shoulder. Keep that going. We'll come back to neutral. We're gonna thread the needle. That arm closest to your screen comes out to the side. We're gonna reach it through. Reach it toward the opposite wall, between your wrist and your knee. Let's take it up and out and reach it through. If you're not comfortable with back rotation, you're welcome to just do the arm movement. If you wanna make it more challenging and a little more of rotation, we reach that arm to the ceiling, we stretch through, maybe we bend that supporting elbow, bring your shoulder down. We're gonna do 2 more of whatever is working for you. Last time, reach it through. Let's take it back up to hands and knees. We'll switch sides. That opposite arm comes out. We could follow it up. We can thread it through, maybe dropping the shoulder down. We have 3 more. Whatever level is your choice. Again, we want to match the challenge to what your body can handle right now. What we feel like we can handle might vary day to day. Let's do 1 more here. Reach it up and out. Stretch it through. We'll take ourselves right back to hands and knees, keeping that belly drawn in toward the spine. We're going to squeeze the blades together and press the blades to the floor. Keep that pattern going here. If we want to make this more challenging, we keep that shoulder blade motion going. We bring ourselves up to plank, maybe just 1 foot out. Maybe we come up into our full plank, squeezing and pressing. Let's do 2 more here. Please email me later if you progress to doing this single arm. We'll go ahead and bring those knees back down. We're going to challenge ourselves on hands and knees, bringing 1 hand up to your thigh. Let's squeeze and press. Squeeze and press. Those shoulder blades are level with each other. Okay. And again, if you wanted to try to challenge yourself, it's Friday morning. Give yourself a chance to make things a little bit harder. If you want, we come up into that plank position. We take that hand up to our thighs. We squeeze and press through that supporting shoulder blade. Laugh at me if you want. I bet there's a few of you that will do this. Let's go ahead and take that second hand down. Knees come down. Shake it out a little bit if you need to. We'll switch hands. That hand comes back to your other thigh. We press through that near hand. Squeeze, press, squeeze, press, squeeze, press. Keep that going. As always, you're welcome to put that supporting hand down. If you want to try that hardest level. Hand comes up, squeeze and press. Squeeze and press, squeeze and press. Last one. Hand comes down. Back to hands and knees. We're gonna rock our bottoms back toward our heels. Come back up. Back and forth a couple more times. Last one. Let's take it back into hands and knees. You guys are good sports. And we're gonna move to diagonal lifts. We'll take that arm closest to your screen forward. Opposite leg comes back. Hold until you feel like you have to work a little bit to maintain your balance, and we'll switch it up. Keep that going. Good. We can challenge it further by moving our weight, shifting toward the screen, taking the same side arm and leg back and forth. Switch to the other side and lift and switch. You're welcome to stick with those diagonals if this isn't working for you. Another option would be to simply move one leg at a time or move one arm at a time. All right, we're gonna take ourselves back down to hands and knees. We're gonna keep our bottom side, the bottom part of our body where it is. We're gonna come down to our forearms, okay? If that doesn't feel good, if it makes you dizzy, we stay right up on hands and knees. Okay, otherwise, we're gonna hold ourselves right here. We're gonna straighten that leg closest to your screen, back behind the body, and we're gonna lift it up and down. If you need to, remind that belly to stay up, lift it away from the floor, hold that leg up to the ceiling. We're gonna bend and straighten our knee. Keep it going, bend and straighten. Bend and hold, and we're gonna drop that knee to the floor. Control it back up, lower and lift, lower and lift. Last two, last one. Hold it up and press. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Feel that glute. Go ahead and take it down, and we'll switch sides. Opposite leg comes back, and we take it up and down. Belly stays drawn in. If you want, you can have one hand resting on your belly to make sure that that pelvis isn't moving. Hold that leg up there. Keep your thighs still. We'll flex and extend that knee. Bend and straighten. Keep it going. Hold it there. We're going to control that knee down. Lift it up. Down and up. Good. Hold it there. Pulse. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take that knee back down. We're going to bring our feet together, knees apart. Drop your bottom down toward the heels. Drop that forehead down to the floor. As we breathe in, fill those lungs with air. We're going to feel the ribs come away from each other. As we exhale, we're going to walk our hands toward that screen, bring one on top of the other. One more breath here. Opening up through the opposite side of your body. We'll go ahead and walk it the other way. Feel that stretch on the side closest to your screen. Big breath in. On that exhale, we'll bring our hands back to the front. And we're going to come up nice and tall, taking a seat on our mat lengthwise. We're going to sit up nice and tall, hold on behind those thighs, and we're going to tip back just a little bit. Those feet are going to be flat on the floor, the belly's drawn in, and we're going to flip our hands so that they're to the outsides of the knees. We could have the hands on the knees if you want to lean back a little bit to get a little bit more abdominal work. If you need to take some pressure off, come up a little taller. You're going to press your forearms into your legs then. We're going to hold ourselves wherever we are. That arm closest to the screen is going to move. Everything else stays still. That arm comes out to the side. Maybe we look over our shoulder. We'll take it back to the middle. Switch it up. Opposite arm comes out. We look over that shoulder. Take it back to the center. Let's do a couple more to each side. Last time. Open it up and center. You should feel your side muscles working as we switch side to side. We're going to hold on behind those thighs now. Tip ourselves back a little farther if we can, maybe onto the toes. That belly stays drawn back. If you want to challenge it further, those feet hover up off the mat. If we want to take it a step further, we take those arms out to the sides, away from the body. And with the feet down or up, we can move those knees side to side. Use your arms as goalposts. Touch your knees to one forearm, Touch them to the other. If your feet are on the floor, it'll look more like a little wiggle, rotation side to side. Good. We can always have the hands behind the legs and give yourself a little support as we rock side to side as well. Maybe we straighten and bend one knee and then the other for a few, whether that foot's down or up. Maybe we just lift up a couple inches. Final challenge would be to take them both up together, lifting and lowering. One more time. We'll lift them up, lower them down. We'll hold on to those shins. We'll come up for a little seated cat and cow. We'll come up nice and tall. We're going to take our hands back behind the body, fingertips pointed forward, or if your wrists need a little bit more room, those hands can be pointed out to the sides. We're going to straighten the elbows as best we can, squeeze the blades back, send that breastbone toward the ceiling. Maybe we inch that bottom forward a little more if you can still keep the elbows straight while you do that. Hold it there. We're going to breathe. You'll feel your chest open up a little bit with each inhale. If you want to take it one step further, we lift that bottom toward the ceiling. Whether that bottom's up or down, we're going to take 3 deep breaths. Take your time. One more. We'll slowly bring that bottom down if it's been up. Let's shake your wrists out. We'll turn forward. Let's face our screen. We could be cross-legged. We could have those feet in front of us, or if you need to be up a little higher, you're welcome to sit on your sofa, on a chair, or to bring a sofa cushion down to your bottom for the next step. We're going to lift up nice and tall, take those arms out to the side. And regardless of your lower body position, we're going to take a side bend. Reaching up and over, nice tall side bend, keeping that rib cage lifted up off the pelvis, just like we did at the beginning of class. If your legs are crossed, you're probably going to get a little bit more stretch through that lower part than we did in standing. We'll do one more here. Let's come up nice and tall. We'll roll those shoulders back and down a couple more times. Good. And then we're going to keep one hand straight down to the mat with that elbow straight. We're going to turn our feet toward that opposite side. So the feet are going to be facing the side of your body that does not have the hand on the floor. Okay? Your top hand's going to be resting on the side of your top heel. We're going to let our bodies sink down toward that straight arm that's supporting you on the floor. And then we're going to press the floor away with the hand. That's going to be the position we're going to maintain. Okay? If you can, straighten out that top leg. Hold it there. Maintain that rib position away from that top arm. Okay? We're going to take our opposite hand to the opposite knee, keeping that supporting hand pressed into the floor. We're going to arc the other arm up, and we're going to arc it down. We're keeping that pressure through our supporting hand. So you should feel some muscles working in that supporting shoulder blade. Okay, progression here is to come up with the side body. You are welcome to keep the side of your body down. If you are lifting, we're keeping that shoulder blade pressed firmly down towards your hip so that your shoulder stays away from your ear. We could take ourselves up, maybe lifting that leg up and down as we go. Do one more here before we switch to our other side. Let's go ahead and switch it up. Nice work. Shake that supporting wrist out a bit. Give it a chance to get a breather, and we'll switch our knees to our other side. We're going to spread those fingers wide for a little more support. Top hand resting on your top heel. We're going to let your rib cage sink down towards your arm, and then we're going to press the heel of the hand to the mat, taking that rib away from your upper arm. Maybe we straighten that top leg out, and then we'll take that top arm, arc it up and over, take it back down. Supporting elbow stays straight as you can keep it. Up and down. Maybe we lift the side of the body up and down, keeping that shoulder away from your ear through the entirety of the motion. Keep it going at your own speed. Remember that top knee could be bent. The side body could stay on the floor. We could progress it by taking that top leg up. If this doesn't feel good at any point, feel free to come down to your forearm. Try it that way. Lots of options. We'll do 2 more here. Lift and lower. All right, good job. We're going to go ahead and move on. We're going to come down onto our sides. Rest your upper body on your arm, and we're going to straighten our legs out. Legs are lined up with your body. We're going to take that top leg up to hip height, Top hand presses into the floor for some stability. And we're gonna swing that top leg forward and back. If you wanna get fancy, we could kick twice forward and draw it back. That's up to you. That bottom knee could be bent if you do need a little more stability. And remember to move through a range that you feel challenges you, but that you feel in control of. We can do a few more. Maybe we add some arms. As the leg comes forward, the arm comes back. And we switch it up. Arm comes forward, leg comes back. Kick, kick, switch it up. One more time here. Kick, kick. Top leg comes back. We could take that top hand and press it into the floor or take it overhead. And that top leg comes down and up. That top leg's gonna stay behind your bottom leg, roughly in line with your trunk. Hold it up there. We're gonna circle that top leg. Little circles. Press your bottom leg into the floor for some extra stability. We'll circle the other way. Hold it up there. Let's take that top arm down in front. We'll bring the bottom leg up to meet it. Maybe that top arm comes to the ceiling. We're gonna take them both down and up together. Last one's on this side. Here's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take them down. Bend those knees up, pat your hips out. All right. Let's come up and over to our other side. Everybody's doing great. We've rolled through some changes today. So hopefully those of you who've been attending class aren't too confused and aren't getting bored. So I figured we'd mix it up a little bit. We're gonna straighten those legs out again, line them up with your body. Press that top hand into the floor. We'll lift that top leg to hip height and let's swing it forward and back. Pressing your bottom leg into the mat. Maybe we add that second kick. Maybe you bend that bottom leg if you need a little more stability. Maybe we add the arm choreography. Arm forward, leg back, leg forward, arm back. Let's do a couple more here. Good. One more for good measure. Kick, kick. Take that top leg back. Arm comes up overhead or down in front for stability. We'll take that top leg down and up. Press that bottom leg down into the floor. Use it to help you stay nice and still. Let's do 2 more. Hold it up there, circle. Other direction. Circle it backwards, press that bottom leg down. Hold that leg where it is, top hand comes down, bottom leg comes up. Maybe that top arm comes up to the ceiling as well. And we move those legs together, up and down. Use that bottom inner thigh. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take them down, bend those knees, pat that hip out. Nice work. We'll go ahead and turn onto our backs. Feet and knees come together. Let's take a few breaths, just settle down into the floor again. We worked hard. Use the brain a little bit differently. We had some different variations. Let's go ahead and take those knees side to side. Couple more times, just ease that lower body into movement. We'll take it back to the middle. Let's cross one leg over the other. Maybe we pull them in. Hold it there for a couple breaths. Feel free to rock side to side to put that knee we've lifted up down to the floor if you need to. Let's go ahead and switch it up. Pull them in. Again, feel free to rock side to side or make modifications as to where your legs are if you need to do so. We're just trying to get to the side of the hip. We'll take one more breath here. Let's go ahead and unwind. We'll take our feet to the floor. We're going to make our way up to standing. You are welcome to come through cat and cow. You are also welcome to come stand straight up. It's completely up to you. If you are standing straight up, go ahead and find some place where you can get some support if you need it when we finish up with some balancing activities. If we're doing cat and cow, we're going to move to a tail wag. Loosen up in that side to side direction. Take it back to the middle. You're again welcome to stand up. If you want to come through a plank, you're welcome to do that. Maybe we do a couple push-ups. It's the end of the week. Finish on a super strong note. Regardless, We're going to take those tailbones up to the ceiling, maybe moving through a down dog. Again, you're welcome to stand right up. Otherwise, we pedal our feet, dropping a heel. Let's take a big breath in here. As we exhale, we can walk those feet toward our hands. Bend the knees as much as you need to. We'll draw that belly in to support us as we come up to standing. All right. Now that we're all up here, let's go ahead and turn facing our screens. Again, find somewhere stable. If you need to be holding on to something and you're not seeing what I'm doing, that's totally fine. Just listen to my words. We're going to bring those feet hip width apart. Let's go ahead and stand up nice and tall as if there's a string at the crown of the head pulling us up. We're picturing the head lifting gently up off the neck lifting up gently off that rib cage, the rib cage lifting up gently, giving that pelvis a little more space. And we're going to align ourselves right over the front of those ankle joints. From here, the hands are going to go right to where your hips, upper thighs fold into your pelvis. We're going to soften the knees a bit and stick that tailbone back. So we're in a little mini hip hinge, mini squat. I hesitate to say squat because you shouldn't really feel like your knees are doing anything here. It's more of a hinge. From that position, with those feet underneath your hips, we're going to push the floor away. We're going to shift from leg to leg. Maybe we move our hands right to the sides of our hips. You should feel those muscles right where your hip folds into your pelvis, kicking in as you shift your weight over that side. All right, let's take it right back to the middle. We're going to stand up tall, and let's go ahead and stand heel to toe. We'll bring one foot right in front of the other. Take those arms down. You're welcome to stay here to hold on to something if you need to. If you do want to challenge it further, you could close your eyes. You could look side to side. And we can take it right back to the middle. Let's switch. We'll lead with that opposite foot, heel to toe. If you're ready to progress this one, we take it and look side to side. Let's look right back to the middle. Let's go ahead and take those feet apart. We're going to shift over one side. Maybe we bend the knees, shifting the weight. Feel that glute working on the side you're moving toward. Then see if you can stand up nice and tall and lift up into single leg balance. Hold it there. Maybe we take it up and down by shifting the weight over the ball of the foot. Use your arms to help you balance. All right, let's switch legs. Again, we can bend those knees, stick the bottom back a little bit. Feel that glute activate when we're right over the center of that other foot. Stand up nice and tall. Move to our single leg balance on that second side. Maybe shifting up and down onto the toes. All right, let's go ahead and take that second foot down. Shake your knees out. Everyone worked really, really hard today. Great job. We're going to turn those toes a little bit apart from each other. Feet are wide. We'll take a big breath in. Arms come up. Clasping the palms, we'll take them to the ceiling and drop those blades down. Let's take some side bends. And I hope everyone has a really wonderful rest of your day. And I look forward to working out with you again. So if you do have questions for me, we'll take those hands down. One more big breath in, bringing your palms to the center. Please feel free to email me. The email here is Rachel, R-A-C-H-E-L, @agilept.com. I will definitely respond to everyone's email. Just give me a little bit of time. And I hope everyone has a great day, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thanks so much.